Near it.
Yeah, don't park near that because it might catch fire and burn the rest of your cars. That's quite rare though. I can't quite believe I missed it. But anyway, 50,000 electric miles. Well, 50,006. I can't believe I missed it. Off goes a smart car. There it goes. Bye bye. Byes. Off it goes. Okay, I'm currently driving Mike's Leaf. He's done 10,000 more miles than me. Almost exactly to the mile, in fact. I think mine's done 50,690. His has done 60,690. And as you'll see, no bars are lost. So that's at 60,000 miles. Woo! So his is still going very strong. 51,003 miles. Look at that, 21 degrees. Beautiful. Good morning. And it is a pleasant 16 degrees at 9 AM in the morning. So we've had some really, really good weather of late. Anyway, us British always talk about the weather, don't we? Mental. Never mind. Phil's at Tesla, so I think it was the last episode I did, so long between episodes, was talking about all the woes he's had with his Tesla. He's come on and commented below in that previous video, so if you want to see the comments, lots of comments on there. Yeah, anyway, his story just gets worse, by the way. There is no better about this. The car is still there. They've now had his brand new Tesla, so the second Tesla. They've now had that as longer than he has owned it. So yeah, he's pretty peed off with the whole thing. Still, obviously, it gets worse and worse. So you can only get to a certain level of peed offness, and it plateaus out. You're just used to being peed off then. But the suspension's got to be dropped out. I think they're either replacing the suspension, they're definitely replacing the drive unit of that Tesla, because there was a massive knocking noise between about 5 and 10 miles an hour, I think Phil said, at low speed anyway. Huge clunking noise, sounded terrible, and so I think they've dropped the suspension out and replacing the drive unit. So anyway, some major work going on with that brand new second Tesla. Not going well at all. I'm not going to go into any more than that. I'm not focusing particularly on that, but that's where it is at the moment. Just a quick update that it's got considerably worse, and it isn't. Some people didn't really understand the story last time, or didn't watch the whole thing and just commented before. Very few of you, admittedly, who just sort of think it's like this isolated single incident, where it's actually a long list. If you've listened to the video and see the description, massive long list of catalogue of errors, ranging from local right up to the European head of Europe being notified, and presumably further. But anyway, still got massive problems now with the second Tesla. Loads of different issues with it. One weird thing that we seem to have found out is that I've been saying to Phil, just go to the Ombudsman and get it sorted. Now it's just got silly. It's just beyond silly. Go to the Ombudsman. But apparently you can't put a case to the Ombudsman if the car company is not signed up with the Ombudsman. So he's powerless. So if there's anyone watching this has got any tips on how you would report Tesla and try and claw some of the tens of thousands of pounds back that you put into their equipment when it's all faulty and the service has been terrible, is there a way of doing it? Does anyone know? Perhaps you could help Phil out. Just let me know, comment below. Because the Ombudsman, unless you're signed up, you cannot report it to them. And the other thing seems to be, you can also, even if you are signed up, you can refuse to talk to them, and that way they've got no power. Crazy. Seems crazy. When Phil said it to me, I said, that can't be right. And I went on the website, and it seems to be, in the little terms and conditions type text, it says that. So, 1, are we wrong? 2, are we right? If so, is there another route to help Phil out? Anyway, and we're not saying that all Teslas are like this. This is by no way even saying that at all. It's a highlight of the problems Phil's got, and not even really the mechanical problems, because you might expect something such a young car company, but it's the way that he's been treated through all this time, and still the non-resolution, and still the fact that he's got an 80 grand car which has been in their ownership longer than it's been in his ownership. So it's stuff like that, that's what we're nailing down on. That's where it got silly. Anyway, moving on from that, the more I drive this Leaf round, I'm pretty sure now at the end of my lease I will ask them can I personally buy this car off my company, because they can't, something to do with closing off loopholes, you can't actually sell it to the people you're leasing it to. So I'll try and buy it, and I'm hoping they're going to say, you know, 3 grand, 2 or 3 grand would be nice. And it would have done 60 odd thousand miles by then. It will be 4 years old, and there will be the brand new Leaf on the market. Does whatever it's going to be, 200 miles to a charge. So I'm really hoping, and there's obviously a model after this one, the 30 kilowatt hour. So I'm hoping it's going to be cheap as chips, and I'd be really content. And it's partly coupled with Phil's story, actually. The realization that despite the range limitations on this, which again, it's 3.5 years in, I've done 51, almost 52,000 miles. It's actually a brilliant car. And my logic is now, my view's slightly shifted, which is, I'm actually really happy with this. And also coupled with having a dog. You can just about see his ears. There they are. It gets filthy and it stinks like old dog. I mean, and the kids. The single wheels we carry around get mud all over them, and the whole thing getting wrecked. So if I had a brand new car, it would get wrecked pretty quick. Definitely could not keep it nice and clean and smelling fresh. And all of that's made me think, well, I just keep this car. It's not showing any signs of deterioration. I mean, originally it was all on the fact that it's going to deteriorate, the battery's going to be terrible, everyone's going to die in 4 years because it's just all awful. But it's turned out that no signs whatsoever at this point in time of any degradation of the battery. Still performing like it did on day one. And I've had no faults with it. I had a leak in front shock, and I only replaced one. They're supposed to replace them in pairs. I replaced one, so I thought I'm handing it back to them, they can have it back. I'm not paying a fortune to have both shock space. Anyway, so I presume that'll be okay. If it's not, that's teed up. So I'm really content with this car suddenly becoming in a position where I'm not looking for anything else. When I think about it, is it worth that extra expense? What I'd like to do is the next mini experiment. It might be really short. I might only think, well, 6 months in, after the lease is finished, if I can buy this car, I might actually think, oh, I'm sick of this actually. But it doesn't matter, because it won't have cost me anything to do that. Apart from buying the car, it's still got a value. If I could buy it that cheap, it would be brilliant. The other thought is that even at that price, if I drove it for 6 months to a year longer than the lease, I would have got my value out of it completely. And it can even just sit on the drive as a car for doing all the short journeys in. And there's only when I want to do a long journey, so it could just sit there. Who knows? Who knows? And the other thing I was thinking is, even at some point, car to grid has got to come out where you can connect it to your house. It's got to come out, hasn't it? And so this is like a rolling battery. Easy to move around, or you could get it all stripped down. I presume someone will do something at some point where you can strip it down, remove the battery pack. I could take this to a place and just get an angle grinder to it and cut all apart until to get to the battery, and remove the battery and store it, along with all the electrical components, and run through it to the battery. You know, there's so many ways you could go with this car. And there is obviously the option to then go into an auction. You get these things really cheap, these cars at auction. So I could go to auction. I think you've got a safer bet of buying these at auction than you have with a petrol or diesel car. Because you pretty much see what's going on. And I mean, if it's drastically reduced, the battery is degraded right down to, it's got 5 bars left or something, you're going to be able to see it. You can't fake that many bars. So yeah, I could do that. I'd rather, obviously I've had this one since it was brand spanking new, and I would like to take this one on. So I'm not particularly looking to jump up to a bigger EV at the moment. I'm actually half thinking of running an experiment of just what happens after the lease. What happens if you can buy it cheap and run it. At the moment it's cost me 240 quid a month. And I can actually get, you know, that my fuel bill was 300 quid, where it all started back on day one. 300 quid was the fuel each month, approximately on average across the year, and so it's already saving me money, but then I wouldn't even be paying that money out each month. You know, pay the 2 to 3 grand or whatever fictional figure is at the moment, and I'd have that car then. So yeah, things to think about, where else have we got, because I haven't really done an update for ages. Following a combine harvester. Is it a combine harvester? Tractor behind. What is that? It is a combine harvester, but a really small one. It's like towed by a tractor. New Holland, a BB 9070. Yeah, what's happened? Nothing's really happened. What we're waiting for is a 7-seater, not a Tesla, 7-seater family electric vehicle. ENV 200, great little vehicle, tiny little battery. So useless at the moment for us if you want to do more than 70 odd miles. So that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for a family vehicle. That, and so I can't switch away from Amy's until there is such a vehicle, which is a real shame. This is a stinky diesel, so I would like to get her. So hers will definitely be another electric car. So there will be definitely another electric car, and hers is 2010, so it's 7 years old now. Not quite 7 years old, but pretty much 7 years old. So that is starting to get a bit, you know, another 2 or 3 years, some money's going to have to be spent on it. So hopefully there'll be something out then. I'm hoping there will be. But aside from that, yeah, tyre wear on these things, I've learned, one thing I've learned is don't go for the cheap tyres, which everyone will say. It's not a new revelation or anything like that, but cheap tyres, if you're thinking of doing cheap, just don't bother. I rip through them in no time at all. Just not worth it. I get the funny tyre wear on the axle, like most Nissan Leaf owners seem to, without any real explanation of what's going on there. So, yep, it's all going well, and it's going so. I suppose you could say it's going so well that I would seriously contemplating trying to buy this car off the leasing company. That's how well it's gone. As a shining example, after 52,000 miles and 4 years of ownership, I would happily buy this car at the right price and drive it round. So it's been an exceptional experience. It really has. So I'm at work, time to do some work. My free time I'll be able to speak about this has now ended. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Not exactly the most fruitful episode, but I thought I'd better do an update nonetheless. Otherwise you won't hear from me for months and months and months. But there's not really a lot to say. That was just that thought came to this morning, that I don't think I've relayed the fact that I would really like to actually buy this car and own it for a lot longer time. And the fact that it's actually got secondary usage anyway as a battery. Still got huge capacity. I mean, even if it had degradation, still got huge capacity. So yeah, waiting for a car to grid, that would be good, wouldn't it? Or if anyone knows of a company doing it, let me know, because then that will set me up even more. I'll be even more confident. Put it this way, I would buy this car for £3 just for the battery for the house. It would be worth it. I mean, it's a 24 kilowatt hour battery. So, I mean, even if it was £5,000, if I was buying that battery, £5,000 good. The Tesla Powerwall 2, what's that, 14 kilowatt hour. So, yeah, for that it would be well worth it, wouldn't it? If there was a company that did something and it wasn't more than a couple of grand to get the install or the conversion or whatever. So if anyone knows of that, please point me in the direction. I'll have a look. It'd be quite interesting. Okay, cheers guys. Have a good one. I hope you're enjoying the sunny weather, if it's sunny where you are. And until the next one, goodbye. That's a Tesla driving past my house. Do do do, dee dee dee. Snowy day.
Happy tapping.
It's rained out now too.
Pew, pew, pew.
29 degrees. Wow, what a hot day. Hottest day in June, recorded at 33.9 I think Celsius. Hottest day, well, hottest June in 41 years.